Hi, this is Russ Payton here with Role Playing Public Radio, and this is RPPR episode 47, Adventures in the Real World. And of course, with me, as always, is Tom.
Yes, my current favorite number for the week is 12.
12. All right. So why is 12 your favorite number, Tom?
It just seems right that this week, as of right this moment, 12 is my lucky number, and I stick with it.
Okay. Just it's lucky.
It's a lucky number for this week.
For
It'll
this
totally
week.
be different next week.
You have a lucky number for each week?
I just started doing it.
You just started doing that. So,
Yes.
All right. So people playing the lotto in the next few days, 12. Put 12 in there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right. Well,
It was 2.2 trillion last week.
what?
My lucky number.
Oh, that how?
Well, sorry, 2,200 billion. Sorry,
Okay.
to be technical.
Okay. Well,
It's 12 this week.
thanks for sharing.
I mean, that's what I'm here for, man. I share.
Anyways, we got a lot to talk about.
We do?
We have some news, of course. Finally, the Codex of War, the third New World campaign sourcebook, is out.
If I had a noisemaker, I'd be making noise. But
Yes, indeed.
So cheers and applause all around.
This is 61 pages. It's our biggest supplement yet in terms of words. Over 30,000 words were written. Quite a bit of art. Great page layout by Ian Moody. Of course, he did a lot of the art and the cover as well. This supplement, is free PDF you can download to find out how to run a war between the colony and the natives. And there's a lot of great adventure fodder in it. It's systems free. It's just background material, so you can run it for Pathfinder, for 4th Ed.
Just be sure
for
to say
first edition D&D, Osric, whatever fantasy RPG you love that is generic Tolkien-esque medieval fantasy world.
Just be sure to have Cortez just go like the horror.
Yes, the horror. Or you could call him Kurtz this time.
Yes, there you go.
Just to make it off. So that's out. So we finally got it done. Finally got it out there. It took a long time, but quality.
Anything good is worth waiting for.
Exactly, Tom. Exactly. So we'll eventually have another one up. The next one that we will do after Gen Con sometime in the fall will be on the Lemurian ruins, and this will be more kind of like the Goblin Hulk, more for any type of game. A lot of
just some kick-ass ruins.
Ancient civilizations, Hollow World, kind of like a pulp supplement, so you can run your own over-the-top.
Giant albino bats.
Science is magic and technology and all kinds of fun stuff. So, it'll be great and awesome.
A lot of Rube Goldberg devices.
No, think more like the Secret of Mana, the Continent of Mew, giant.
With Rube Goldberg devices.
You really
can we have
really
those,
pushing
please?
that, aren't you? Yeah.
I'll write about it.
Okay, that's it's funny. In Wild Talons, the RPGs, they call people, the engineers who can build machines, Goldbergs, because they only work around the engineers who built them, because they're hyper brains. It's a superhero game. You don't care though. Yeah.
Don't assume things. I might deeply care about this.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that later. Maybe. Anyways, next up, bigger news. My book, Road Trip, a summer adventure campaign for monsters and other
baby. It's done.
Other monsters and other childish things. It is finally done. It is 80,000 words, 194 pages or so, 192.
And it is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
It is. It is a monster of a campaign. All kinds of adventures all over the country. There are postcards too that are full color printouts. Or they're inserted in the book. PDF has them as well. It's kind of a different thing. I'll be running games of a Gen Con, but if I'll just be shamelessly repeating Grit here. Buy my book. Buy my book. Buy my book.
You better, or he'll keep saying it.
I will. I will keep saying.
And I play tested it, so I have a stake in this too.
That is true. Tom is listed as a playtester, and if you listen to our actual play podcast, Sucrose Park, Pastoral Manor, Are You There, Witch, It's Me, a Monster. Those are all chapters from Road Trip. And so if you like those, especially Sucrose Park, we posted that back in June. That a lot of people really responded to that. So
there you go.
Yeah,
it's there.
It's there.
It's all for you now.
You can order it. It will be printed. It will be out in time for Gen Con. So if you order it now, you get the PDF right now, and then you will get the book at Gen Con, or it'll be shipped to you after Gen Con, after they're done with
If
Gen
you pick
Con.
it up at Gen Con, you could even meet the author himself.
Yes, and I might even sign it.
Mother of God.
I know. So I'll even give you an RPPR button. Ooh. Supplies are limited.
First come, first serve.
Pretty much. I only have like 30 or so left, so...
But we'll be using a number of those for something else, too.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. There are rewards for the Kickstarter that has already been met, but still going on. You see, poor Aaron...
he can't. He would have difficulty going to Gen Con this year.
Yeah, bad economy. Everyone's suffering. So, but Aaron is because Tom made a scheduling boo boo.
Hey, it's my first time. Be easy with me.
Be gentle.
Be gentle.
Yeah.
Well, that just sounds a little creepy.
Coming for you think that's creepy.
For now.
Yeah.
Because it's coming out of your mouth.
Oh, I see.
Your filthy mouth.
I know.
But no, it's passed, and Aaron's gonna take the ultimate leap of faith, I guess, and run a Call of Cthulhu game at Gen Con.
Yeah, no, he will. And if you kick into the Kickstarter, it had a $400 goal. We are already at $480. But if you're a big fan of the APs, we've posted some AP episodes on there that you can get as a preview, including Aaron's first run as a Call of Cthulhu GM.
We're horrible.
Scott Glancy was wordless just listening to the first 10 minutes. Well, no, he had words for it. He was
yes.
I don't want to spoil it, but
I'll just say douche nozzle.
Yeah. Because the players nobody looks good in that game. We were like, it was me and the regular gamers, RPPR crew, and we were absolutely terrible as players. I mean,
and I don't know. I do not know what happened. I don't.
You made the worst character. You and Jason made the worst characters for that. So, ex-Mormon polygamist turned Scientologist. I mean, I wasn't much better. I made a social worker named McBain.
All this shit came up later.
Yeah.
First, we just made our characters, but then we had like 35 minutes to wait before Aaron got there.
Yeah.
So then Jason and I...
hands are the devil's...
Yeah, so Jason and I start talking. Like, hey, what if we're brothers? Hey, he's young. What if he's our son? And by the time Aaron got there, the seeds of discontent had already been sown.
Yep. So... he was running the Haunting, by the way, which is in the Call of Cthulhu rule book. It's a classic scenario.
But Aaron, at Gen Con, he'll be running Divine Fire, which is my scenario I made.
World War II Nazi science camp.
Nazi science camp, yes.
Yes, in winter.
And I will be running another game there.
Yes, Incident on Bell Island. You've already run it once.
Well, it's really... I ran it when all I really had was the setting.
Yeah, that's kind of an idea. So we'll post that AP sooner or later, maybe.
Yeah, it's obvious. You can tell right away exactly how much I had truly planned for it.
Yeah. In fact, I might throw it up there as a preview episode. So $10 will get you access to the preview episodes. $20 will get you
that and some RPPR swag.
Aaron will mail you a RPPR postcard and a button. And
if you get 40, you'll also get a DVD because
we shot a video for it. Or you wrote the script and you edited it. I just shot it and
First video I ever wrote a script for and edited, by the way.
Yes. So see Tom's directorial debut.
And there's. And if you have $40, you'll get a DVD containing a lot of the raw footage, some of our boo-boos, and just us yelling instructions at each other.
Yeah,
in our usual diplomatic tone of like, "You're fucking up."
Yeah,
stuff like that.
It's fun. Yes. So so if you're a big RPPR fan, or if you're a big AP fan, I believe
Aaron's actually planning to make this a true DVD.
Okay.
One you can stick in a DVD player and play.
Okay. Well,
I think that's what he's planning on doing.
More power to him. That's it. So, of course, our biggest news is obviously Gen Con is upon us.
Just a little more, about 10 days away from
10 days,
from
yes.
this day.
Yeah, it'll probably be sooner when I post it.
We're recording it at the 10-day mark.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm running 3 games at Gen Con this year. All of them road trip. I haven't decided which chapter I'll run.
Must be nice knowing, like, I don't know what I'm going to run.
Well, I know from what I will run.
But not of which.
And I kind of know the material, Tom.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I
wrote
really? It, Tom.
Oh, you wrote it?
I wrote it, Tom. And
in this game, are there monsters?
There are fucking monsters all over the place.
They're
all up in this bitch.
Even in the school.
Even in the school. They're in the school. They're in the theme park, the farm, the
desert,
the Kingdom of Oz.
But the desert,
the Area 51. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. California.
Do you know what the name of the dry lake bit is at Area 51?
I can't.
Groom Lake.
Groom Lake. That's it. Yeah.
Motherfucker, you couldn't remember that.
It was on the tip of my tongue, Tom.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, well, shut up, Tom.
I don't want to. But yeah.
I'm running 3 games. What about you, Tom?
I'm running 1 game.
You're running 1 whole game.
It's my first one I've ever run at a convention.
Oh, poor baby.
So if you people in it, could you be gentle to me?
Yeah, You know how many games I ran last year? 6.
And you said never again.
Because I didn't have time to do anything else. Not because
poor baby Ross couldn't do anything at his convention.
Well, I ran literally 24 hours of well, actually more than that, because I ran an after-hours game too.
Which you're so grateful to do, and
I did, because I'm a great GM. I'm awesome, and my modesty, only my modesty exceeds my ability as a game master.
It truly is inspiring to see.
You're speechless.
No, I'm not speechless. I can still talk. But.
So, anyways, my first game's Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Friday, 4 to 8 p.m. and then Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tom,
both of my games are at the exact same time.
Well, not your one game. Aaron is running
the other game.
Yeah, that's why we're having this fundraiser, so Aaron can get there, so he can run the game.
Now, as I mentioned in the Kickstarter, this could be a great story of, fear being overcome by determination, or it could be a display in awkwardness.
Train wreck of epic proportions.
Yes. So it could be either one.
Yeah.
It will be recorded either way.
Yeah.
And as soon as we get back, you'll have access to it.
Yes, of course.
And I will be running my my game at 1:00 on Thursday.
Yeah. So the show title we have, Adventures in the Real World, obviously applying to, Gen Con. Gen Con's the great adventure of comedy.
Well, for gamers.
Yes. Tabletop gamers. I mean, if you're a video gamer, I'm sure, PAX
or E3.
Well, no, E3 is a press event. It's not really.
Well, I'm sorry, Ross.
PAX, Penny Arcade Expo. That's
why. Fine. Why don't you just do that?
I did.
Just ignore everything I say, because obviously I have nothing to add.
Anyway. We also you can use it applied to your own RPGs, your own tabletop games. I think I've mentioned this several times before, is that I played in this World War II based campaign that was where we were just civilians.
It was GURPS 25-point characters.
Yeah, GURPS 25-point characters. We were civilians hiding out in Nazi Germany. I played a Jewish doctor, and it was a great campaign because I actually survived. And just surviving, living in Nazi-occupied Europe was pretty fucking hard,
Yeah.
So what it gave me a thought, like all these games, almost every game out there, every RPG is focused on either, supernatural, science fiction, or the cinematic action, some sort of larger than life thing where there's some sort of X factor that.
And let's be honest, that's what most gamers want to do.
Well, I mean, it's a the escapism is obviously there, but.
It is occasionally nice to dip your toe into the other side of the pool.
Right, yeah. The real world. And so this episode, we're going to talk about some ideas you can have for adventures or entire campaigns set in the real world with normal people. And by normal people, I mean they could be, cops or soldiers or criminals or whatever. But not
a nanotech enhanced soldier.
Well, or not a feng shui action hero, not a John Woo badass hard-boiled detective.
Or a Jedi.
Well, Tom, Jedis aren't real.
What?
Yes, I'm sorry to break your bubble, but burst your bubble, but
you son of a bitch.
I know they're a religion in England, but that's they're just joking. So, anyway.
You mean they lied to me?
They did lie to you.
Those bastards.
I know. You can't trust a Jedi.
You can't trust anyone.
Well, with their mind tricks and all. Anyway, so what I was doing is I came up with an idea for a whole campaign. Tom had a bunch of ideas.
Well, yeah, I think I noticed I create games and based on the larger than life stuff.
Right.
And I suddenly realized as I was sitting down trying to think of this shit,
it's
a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah. It can be. You have to think about it. I mean, like the World War II game worked because it's a very dramatic situation, and a real world game shouldn't be boring or anything like that. It should be just as exciting as any game, shooting zombies with Tommy guns or whatever, or blowing up, Sith lords with force lightning or whatever. Force lightning. No, that's a dark side.
Or creating a starship made of blaster rifles.
Exactly. But so I one of my things, I'm very interested in sort of what's going on in the real world and what in certain areas. For example, I know I mentioned this I'm sure I've mentioned this on the podcast before. There's a blog I read called Global Gorillas, and it talks about new trends in insurgencies, terrorist movements, that what he calls fifth generation warfare. The idea that people can use 21st century technology to gain disproportional benefits when fighting larger institutions. For example, cell phones give everyone an advantage, but the little guy much more of an advantage than the larger guy, just because of the scale of diminishing returns and all this other stuff. So, I've been reading about it, and combining with sort of what I've been looking up, I think you could run a global guerrilla type campaign set in any number of places in the real world that could be very interesting to play through. For example, Iraq or Afghanistan come to mind immediately. And both of those, they have what they call counterinsurgency, where the idea isn't to just kill every single Taliban or Iraqi insurgent, but to try and co-opt them, try and pacifying the people. And they use a lot of sophisticated strategies to do this. And it's very interesting to see how the Taliban responds. Like, for example, I just read that they're building this massive they're updating this massive hydroelectric dam in Afghanistan. Like $100 million, huge project. And, of course, the U.S. government thinks, hey, we'll do this. The people will see that we're the ones who can provide them with power and safety, and they'll stop supporting the Taliban. But do you know how the Taliban responded?
I think you're going to tell me.
The Taliban started going to people's houses and charging them for the power that the U.S. government, the Afghani government, was generating. It's like, yeah, you're getting this power. Well, you're going to pay us a fee because we're the ones outside your door with an AK-47. Or the other day, they started basically hacking the grid, like actually, changing the power grid around so that people who are friendly to the Taliban got power and electricity, and the people who weren't friendly to the Taliban didn't get electricity. So they're sort of co-opting what all this massive investment is, and because it's this power grid's over such a large area, the U.S. government can't defend everything at once. So, I mean, that's like, that would be a very interesting adventure to play. It's like, how do you defeat the Taliban doing that? You can't just kill them all because there's too many of them. You don't have enough forces to do that. So the U.S. government has these things called human terrain teams, which are sociologists, anthropologists, linguists who go around and try and figure out how all these different tribal factions relate to each other. And the idea is to figure out a way to peacefully get them to work with us instead of them. And that would be a fascinating campaign, I think, to try and play the part of the human terrain team or locals who are working with the Afghani government or something like that to try and do that. So that's one example of the global guerrilla campaign. I have more, but
Somalia.
Somalia is even worse because that's literally an anarchist state. I mean, there's no government there.
Well, we've all seen that, Come to Somalia video.
Yeah, exactly. Libertarian paradise.
Yeah, government free since 1993.
Exactly. That actually brings up a good point. I hadn't even thought. Piracy, nautical piracy. Now, you could play it from either side. Either, like, the players, as a scenario, are captured by pirates and they have to figure out how to survive.
Or they are pirates.
And there's actually some people have written like interesting papers on how the business of piracy works out. Like everyone gets shares, everyone's put in a certain amount of money. The backers have to get so much money back before the pirates get paid.
But also, I've heard also freelance pirates are getting less and less because now like pirate lords are essentially taking over.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very dynamic. If you look at it from the structure of a game, then it becomes very interesting. I mean, in the real world, it's obviously very tragic and very violent, and regrettable. But that's the stuff that good games are made of. And
also, the pirates are kind of rock stars in Somalia too.
Really? Okay, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but I mean, especially before the independent pirates, especially.
Yeah,
they're celebrities in Somalia.
Oh yeah, cool.
Especially when they raid American or European ships.
So you playing sort of a live fast, die young kind of campaign. And I mean, personally, I was also just trying to learn about a different culture and like portray not in a way that would be kind of dumb or all right, but just trying it's like when you're doing a World War II game, you want to get the accuracy right, you want to get the details right, so you learn a lot about what's going on in World War II.
Also, I listened to an interview with the captain of the cargo ship that was taken hostage.
Oh yeah,
and listening to that's kind of interesting because he actually got he was with the pirates the whole time.
Yeah,
and so you essentially find that they never really expect that much trouble.
Oh yeah,
because it's pretty much they get on board, like they'll ransom or steal a bunch of stuff and then go.
Right,
because they don't want the Navy to show up.
No, of course not, because they'll lose because they only have a few guns and they have Zodiacs, not armored ships.
But they said the captain said they also knew that they weren't going to actually storm the ship and endanger hostages.
Right, because that would be bad business.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a very complex kind of set of arrangements. So I think it would be very interesting to run that kind of game. Now, Tom, you had a lot of different ideas, so I'll go back to the Global Guerrillas thing. But what were some?
Okay, I had some were like obviously crime.
Yeah,
which is a huge category.
Oh yeah.
But it could be. I mean, this could be anything from players playing criminals, just trying to do a criminal act, which is a lot harder than one might think.
Yeah.
I mean, even just planning run into a small town bank, rob it, and leave. There's a lot of planning that has to go into that.
Well, to not get caught. I mean,
not get caught. Yeah.
Most of the criminals who do that don't plan and they get caught.
By doing stuff stupid like. Leave it like wearing gloves, but then taking the gloves off and leaving them.
Yeah,
which has happened.
Yeah, so planning a bank robbery campaign straight up with no cybernetics or magic spells
or the getting to the power grid, hack everything. Just planning a straight out old fashioned. One guy sits in a car outside, the others run in, secure the place, grab a bunch of money, and get out, preferably in 60 seconds or less.
Right.
But there's a lot of crap that goes into that.
There's an interesting book I have called McMafia. It talks about how, right up there. It's about the new trends in global crime. Like criminal syndicates are just branching out everywhere. And one of the things I find interesting is that governments are getting in it. Like in Iran, the Revolutionary Guards become like the massive smuggling organization.
They pretty much are the biggest corporation in the country.
Right, yeah. And they billions of dollars in smuggling.
Yeah. In fact, I've heard kind of forget the president and forget the Ayatollah. It's the Revolutionary Guard.
Well, I've heard conflicting things on that. Like, the Ayatollahs, I think, have a little more power, but a very complex power range, much more complex than we think, and that could be a very interesting game where you're playing this like you're supposed to work for the government, but you're really a gangster. So like North Korea, that's even worse. Like they sell meth all over Asia, and they counterfeit money.
It may think like, well, that's bad. Well, if you're just playing a soldier who's trying to just make money, support a family,
right?
And you're getting paid pittance, and then suddenly you're offered like 3 times your salary to go do this criminal act.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. It's no different than the gangsters here. A lot of them do that because it's the only economic thing that makes sense. So that's one angle of it. That's a very good point. For me, like I was thinking, like the Mexican drug cartels. That would be another for a global guerrilla game. Now, the idea, I wouldn't want it to be so simple as being like either working for the players start out working for the cartels or for the U.S. government, border patrol or something like that. That's too simple. I'd rather them like play Mexican civilians
caught in the middle.
Yeah, basically. It's really crazy what's going on there. I've read news stories where literally villages have set up moats, like they dig ditches so the bad guys can't. They'll just literally raid the village in SUVs and grab people at random to hold them for hostage, for ransom. Yeah. And it's like that, you could do a whole Seven Samurai game where like you're all playing, private ex-soldiers or something like that, trying to defend a village from Mexican drug gang. That's a little more cinematic,
right.
But like,
or stuff like Proof of Life.
Yeah, Proof of Life. There you go. Like
that's a very, very good movie, by the way.
Russell Crowe. Who's the woman? Was that
David Caruso as well as in it?
Really? Oh yeah, you're right.
He's the other soldier.
Who was the woman? Was that Meg Ryan?
Anne Hesh, I think.
Anne Hesh, yeah.
I think it was Anne Hesh. Meg Ryan or Anne Hesh.
Yeah.
I get those two confused.
Yeah. They're different people, but yeah, they're anyway.
Russell Crowe, that's all you would need to know.
Yeah, so the players could play the part of the team of
obviously, at the end they go full on military, rescue the hostages, but I love the scene just like the negotiating with a guy on the other end of a radio.
Right. Yeah, no, they're very intense. Very well done, and there's a lot of complexity to that. Like, you could do military action games, but like in a real world, you have to, use rules that make sense. Like, guns are very, very damaging.
Like, you get hit with an AK-47 round,
yeah,
you're going down.
You're having a bad day.
Yes, you are. Never mind if they break out RPGs.
Yeah, RPG, you're pretty much fucked if they hit you. So
I would say like for realistic gun statistics for a game, RPG, hit, die.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, if it's a direct on hit, I'm sure if it was like 20 feet away, shrapnel and so that's a very Black Hawk Down. If you wanted a realistic action game, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
That actually happened.
You can do military stuff as more just real world stuff, not super soldiers.
Right. So those are some of the ideas. I had what were your some of
Well,
ideas?
I also if you want to go a little more lighthearted, you could do stuff like I think we actually did something like this once, but having the players be members of a movie crew, trying to act, to film the movie they want to do.
I did run a one shot like that, but that was a horror game. Like the idea was that you were actually filming on an abandoned government site with actual monsters in it. So that kind of fails my test in that
right.
regard. But yeah,
but I mean the movie State and Maine,
yeah,
which is another good movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially realizing the difficulty of filming a movie.
Yeah,
which dealing with local governments, unions, the stars who.
Oh yeah.
The special needs stars as
yeah.
There's someone who said that someone was at an interview on NPR. They were asking who's the most difficult actor you've ever worked with. They said Gary Busey. He says he's what they call a special needs actor.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you wanted a lighthearted game, another idea would obviously be in the 15 minutes of fame. Players are somehow thrust in the spotlight. They could either be like reality TV stars, they could be internet YouTube stars. The idea is obviously dealing with all the people who try and leech your money off, or lottery winners. That's a classic thing.
The sudden wealth syndrome,
yeah, exactly.
Which is an actual
illness. No, I mean it like people go crazy when they see the money and they just stop. They become evil assholes or something. Let's go into something back. Brazil, the Pueblas, the shanty towns that are dot all over Brazil. If you ever see City of God or City of Men, you can see it's a very brutal life, and just trying to live in those sort of conditions would be a challenge.
Yeah, or along the same line, a prison.
A prison, yeah, a lot of.
Obviously, like Shawshank Redemption.
Right. Yeah, Shawshank.
Just surviving.
Oz,
surviving in a prison.
Right. That's true. That's true. Let's see some of the other things. You mentioned like investigations. That would be interesting.
Yeah. One of the ideas. Ross thought of like one pretty clear idea. I kind of had like 12 to 15 half ideas in my head because I suddenly realized it's hard for me to plan something real world.
Well, that's another reason why I sort of brought this topic up. It's because we're in RPGs. It's so focused on the supernatural, doing things that you can't do in real life, that it's sort of an exercise in sort of building up your creativity and try and limit yourself in this way.
Yeah, like one slightly more cinematic idea I had was players playing members of an NTSB investigation team,
right,
for like a plane crash,
right.
Which there's you could throw in terrorism, you could throw in like kind of corporate espionage thriller stuff. If you actually discover there was a faulty system in the plane that their other planes are still flying around with,
right, and then you like the government cover up or the
corporate cover up.
Yeah, the airline industry, the manufacturer, tries to buy you off, or of course you're going to give up. And then if it's a terrorist thing, then you can do a joint investigation with the FBI or Department of Justice. Right.
Homeland Security.
Homeland Security, yes, very good. One thing I was thinking is actually you can't do it in a variety of genres either. So we sort of mentioned survivalist stuff, investigation, crime, but you can also do a horror game set in the real world. And my example is you wouldn't even have to use the serial killer. There's a situation a lot of people find themselves is very horrific, and it's being trapped in a cult. Yeah. And if you read up on cults, like have
like the first thing to do, isolate you from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And pretty much you make it impossible for you to leave. By pretty much taking all your money, all your passports, your IDs.
Yeah.
And then basically making you totally subservient on them.
Right.
That's pretty much how they operate. And
you could do this from either one of two ways. One, like outsiders trying to rescue a family member or loved one from a cult, or
the other one, like you're in a cult, and you suddenly realize this is
right.
These people are freaking crazy.
Right, and then so figuring out some sort of way why you can get out without having the cult literally track you down and kill you.
Just imagine if you were in like the Branch Davidian compound.
Yeah. See, that would be the finale. Is like
suddenly like
the beginning. It would be like the beginning. It's like the government siege on the compound. That's when you wake up and you realize, oh shit, this is too real. You find there's an escape tunnel, and so you're still with the cult, but the cult's on the run, and you have to get away from them while still finding a way to clear your name. Like say I was crazy, but not anymore.
I got better.
Yeah, I got better. Please don't shoot me. Please don't throw me in prison. So there's for another couple ideas for the global gorillas thing. Did you know there's like a Maoist rebellion going on in India?
Yeah. NPR, I do actually kind of keep up to date on some of that.
Yeah. They're called the Naxalites, and it's been going on for like 30 years, and they control a pretty large chunk of India. I mean, they don't control, but they're active in a very large chunk of India, and they're a very violent group. And I feel sorry for the people who are living in between these two groups, because you have on one side the government is trying to evict all these farmers and poor people from their land because they have resources that the richer want, and so that's why the Naxalites formed, is to protect the people from these things.
But as usual, the goal gets
they just became so violent and so that they scared the hell out of the people they were trying to protect. So it's like, and they got in, like criminals. They started recruiting criminals, and
it's like, so as you're the peasants, like, who do you support? The government wants to evict you, or these people who are freaking
well, the
crazy?
government like sends them in these camps, and beats them, kills people at random. I mean, both sides are ruthless and utterly, sadistic. I mean, it's a very complex situation.
There's no heroes or villains in this.
Yeah, so, well, there are a lot of villains. I don't know if there's any heroes, but just trying to survive in that kind of area where you're not sure who you can trust, who you can't trust, who's really working for whom.
Well, it's not black and white.
Yeah.
It's all
so,
gray.
That's another thing. One other, it's just, I think it probably helps you if you try and think of what type of adventure you could do that would be interesting to have normal people without special abilities or resources. Like, what can you do? I think, surviving in a difficult situation would be interesting. Like the Nazi game, the World War II Nazi game was very fun because, just getting past checkpoints, getting supplies for, basic survival. I thought
of a bunch of scenarios for quarantine zones.
Okay, yeah.
Being stuck behind a quarantine zone.
Right. There are many circumstances where
and hell, it doesn't have to be modern day. You could do the Black Plague.
Right. Exactly. Historical games. That's another. We're sort of focusing on the here and now, but historical games that don't have any no X factor. The Black Death. I mean, like, societies were literally crumbling apart. Villages were just disappearing, just wiped off the face of the earth. You had all these raiders, all these other people, wars, peasant rebellions,
and a bunch of religious fanaticism was always there, but some groups that were especially fanatic.
Oh yeah, no,
and blaming every single group in the world for the cause of the plague.
I think I've always been interested in the idea of peasant rebellions in the Middle Ages, because you have this these how the lords try and put them down, how the aristocrats try and put them down, how the church sides with them, and the peasants very brutal to the landlords, and obviously then they were all executed horribly and massacred and all this other stuff. So
I've heard most peasant rebellions. Yeah, they can actually fight to win stuff, but they can never keep it.
Right, because they don't have support. I mean,
and also they don't have knights.
Yeah,
especially at the time of that you may have numbers, but
right. So yeah, it all depends on morale. Facing down a bunch of armored professional warriors and big badass horses with big swords, that's fucking scary. So yeah, that could be an interesting thing. Like your ragtag group of rebels trying to pull a Robin Hood, basically. So only in the real world. So live fast.
That's a lot. A lot of this would be kind of live fast, die hard stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages.
Oh man, you think Call of Cthulhu is lethal? I mean,
shit. Just like try to exist for a week in the Dark Ages.
Yeah, without dying. And then again, a lot of research. I mean, the Middle Ages were a lot more racy and a lot more intense than people think. You read the Canterbury Tales and all these other source legends.
Well, we kind of have tended to romanticize.
Well, they think it's very staid and very like quaint and nice, and they're very brutal.
No, it was brutal as hell.
Yeah. So,
in fact, in a lot of ways, probably a little more brutal.
They think of the tales of chivalry, and the King Arthur and all that, and that's how people think the Middle Ages
or those the Renaissance festivals.
Right, exactly.
And I noticed no one's really portraying peasants.
Yeah,
there.
Well, they do, but
But it's like we're wearing ratty clothing.
Yeah,
but we're not starving.
We're not. Have a turkey leg. Yeah.
My arm didn't just fall off from leprosy.
Nice.
And the church isn't controlling every aspect of my life.
Or historical, again, sort of rebellions, insurgencies, sort of pet
or
topic of
you
mine.
could do a game Surviving Valley Forge.
Yeah, there you go. Or the Battle of Algiers, the battle fight. There's
I thought another idea I thought of.
Yeah.
Playing Southerners, trying to get out of the way of Sherman's march to the sea.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that could be a very sort of an odyssey. You can throw all kinds of things at them, and that's more American history. People are going to be, or at least our American listeners are going to be more familiar with that.
Yeah. Or it's to show that America's not all prominent badasses. Try escaping from Washington D.C. during the War of 1812, and it was burned.
The point is that history is full of horrible, horrible things
that is great game fodder.
That are great tragedies that would make great entertaining games.
Because tragedy sells.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, lots of people died horribly. Oh man, that'll be awesome to play in.
Yeah, and you could get I got obscure. I was thinking maybe I could do something in the aftermath of the Mont Blanc explosion, which is a ship that was transporting several thousand tons of cordite explosives that was hit by another ship, drifted through this town on a river in up in Canada, and then blew up. Yeah, and it pretty much flattened most of the town on both sides of the river.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
It is.
Wow. Finally, I was thinking, you could do sort of hypothetical situations. I know a lot of people in America, there's a book I've read part of called The Shock Doctrine, Disaster Capitalism. And there's another book off the books talking about the underground economies in urban ghettos. You could do a game of people who are forced to evacuate a circumstance because of a hurricane or an earthquake or any number of things, or an oil spill, and trying to relocate in a sort of near future dystopian thing. A lot of people think there's going to be FEMA concentration camps or whatever. I mean that's a little paranoid or whatever, but I think it's you've seen the movie Children of Men.
Yes.
Something like that in America, I think, could be a very interesting thing. Trying to deal with gangs forming in these shanty towns, these decrepit cities, or dealing with government people who are just have no idea of what to do. Corporations that are profiteering. I mean, you could do a really interesting game like that. I'll have some show links up there. A couple books aside the ones I just mentioned. Cities Under Siege, talking about how we've taken a lot of the techniques we've used, learned from the places we've occupied, like the Philippines and Iraq, in terms of surveillance and police tape stuff, and we start applying them to our own society. And using drones. We use drones to surveil in Iraq. And so what are we doing now? We're using those same drones to watch the border. So what about they start, watching? They start moving inland to start watching, cities. So I mean, just it's kind of crappy to think about, this is really happening, but again, it's gameable. So.
Yeah, truly. I mean, I know we did an episode on happy things in games.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. You really have to actually try to do that. Yeah. Tragedy's easy.
Yeah. No joke. We are not necessarily tragedy, just.
Well, tragedy is the best kind of drama.
Circumstances that allow interesting adventures, conflict, obstacles to overcome. I mean, I think these are the sort of the foundation of good games. Also, you have moral dilemmas. I think not black and white issues, so you have a moral gray area. Some other places to look at, like the TV show The Wire. You watch that. I mean, you can't tell me that people wouldn't want to play Omar or the Detective McNulty or something like that. Season 1 or any of the seasons really. Or let's see here, Training Day.
Or The Shield.
Training Day, Breaking Bad. I mean, obviously we're sort of focusing on the crime stuff, but there's a lot. If you think about it, most TV shows and most movies, most stories are about normal people in extraordinary circumstances. Most movies, I don't think, feature superhuman badasses with supernatural powers. I still think, though, even though there's some are blockbusters, you okay there, Tom?
Yeah, dry throat.
Oh, I see. You see these movies, and I think you can. People find them really fascinating. Shawshank Redemption, all these other stories.
Well, yeah, I've actually determined that's one of my problems with anime. Yeah. They're full of invincible, swaggering characters.
Yeah,
and I don't like them at all.
Yeah. No, that's sort of a cultural trope, though, or convention of Japanese stories, anyways, of the arrogant, the hero full of hubris. But especially in anime, because that's again more of an escapist thing for them.
But
people watch the anime. The Japanese people, they want to be that.
Well,
guy.
Characters with no flaws,
right?
Or that are invincible,
right?
Yeah, they are the worst stories for me.
You don't like Goku?
No, I don't.
Goku's awesome. Okay, not really. Did you know Soulja Boy, the rapper? You know him? He just put out a rap song called Anime.
Really?
He talks about Goku. How cool it is. Seriously. Yeah. It's a thing.
Okay.
You believe me?
Yeah, I believe you.
Okay.
I just don't think you'd make that up on the spot.
This is again sort of giving you an idea. The real world is full of situations that are very gameable. If you have ideas that we haven't even touched upon, not survival, not comedy, not horror, not investigation,
but also know your group so they know that they'd be into this.
Yeah. I think a lot of gamers are very interested in history, so I think a historical game would be very good. The World War II game, obviously grabbed me on the bat. I'm interested in, I have sort of weird interest in like, oh, wow. One other idea that could be done. There's, like in Africa, there have been several cases of like the movie The Dogs of War, or there's the Wonga coup. There's a small island country in Africa, Wonga, where these British people decided to take over, to launch a coup, and they were just very horribly inept. But there's a book about it, which is on my bookshelf right there, on the third shelf down, and it's right next to the How Done It. It's about these African guys, these Westerners, trying to take over an African country, and that's the thing that happens a lot. That colonialism, trying to bring in, take over so you can exploit the hell out of it. So you can play the bastards trying to take over a country, or you could play the natives trying to fight them off, or the corrupt government trying to make a deal with them. I mean, there's a lot of angles for that. So, yeah. So just keep them. So you try at least a one shot, for your group of an adventure that's set in the real world,
with real people,
with the real world.
And tell them no, they cannot have a shirt. They cannot have a tank.
No. Well, unless they're playing Tank Commanders in Africa, Tobruk, 1942.
Yeah, and they're in a shitty British tank versus German Tigers.
There you go. Quick game.
Yeah, very quick.
Yeah. All right, so we'll be back. Tom does not have a letter because he's lazy, because he's a horrible person.
There's other reasons, too.
Oh, yeah. It's mostly because you're a horrible person.
Well, you keep telling me that.
Yeah.
Anyways. If I keep hearing that enough...
we will be talking about Aaron's game, First Run.
I kind of figured that maybe I shouldn't do a letter because there's so much to talk about that.
Okay.
What's not going to be how inept he was. No, it's more how horrible we are.
Yeah, no, we were fucking assholes in that game. Oh my god! And then of course Tom's starting up a Cyberpunk game. We'll just mention a little. We got
it. We got to mention that.
Yeah, and then of course shout outs and all that junk. And Tom's a horrible monster.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, at least I don't. I'll disallow players from influencing others with skills.
Yes.
So
yeah. Obviously, I'm
for that.
the worst GM ever for not letting PCs mind control other PCs. Anyway.
Well, first of all, I think we got some shout outs, don't we?
Yeah, since we're not doing your letter, I guess we can do the shout-outs first, since you're a monster. Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so why don't you give us your little first shout-out there, Tom?
Fine. It's a movie Ross and I watched.
Yeah.
The Good, the Bad, and the Weird.
Yes.
And just so you know what Ross thought of it, after we were done, Ross kept repeating for about 10 minutes, that fucking movie.
That fucking movie, man.
Yeah, it's a Korean movie.
It's a Korean Western.
Yeah.
Set in 1930s Manchuria, China.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, there's swords, axes, Sten guns, artillery barrages.
Yeah, but it's a Western.
It is a Western.
And
it's a MacGuffin Western.
Yeah, they're all chasing after the treasure map and junk, and it's a movie. It's a movie.
It's one that I really can't go into detail describing because it seems to defy that.
You can't be told what the good and bad
I was going to avoid that, Ross. But if you want to go the Matrix route, fine. Because Okay. I'm going to use this moment to bring up that. No, one can be told what the Matrix is. You could sit right down and tell him the Matrix is this world that is fake, and you're connected to it. What is so hard about that?
Well, he wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, I know, and then there would be no resistance.
Well,
so if you think about it, Cypher was right. He did lie to them.
Anyway, so
that's my rant.
Yes, your awesome rant. Next up, another movie, Blue Collar, a Paul Schrader movie. Paul Schrader, of course, wrote Taxi Driver. This is Blue Collar's 1978 movie. It's sort of a real world adventure. It's about three auto workers who decide to rob their union.
Never a good idea.
Well, they find out that they grab the book and they find out inside of the money. The book is full of illegal loans. So they're like, oh shit, the union is up to illegal business. And what do we do? Because we need money. And so it stars Richard Pryor, Harvey Keitel, and Yaphet Kotto. Yaphet Kotto was the black guy from Alien. So that's why probably a lot of you have seen him. It's a great movie, great acting. Richard Pryor, it's a serious movie. Richard Pryor is an amazing serious actor. I mean, he's not just a comedian. So,
Joss Whedon actually said if you want someone to do drama, get a comedian.
Yeah. Well, good point, because it's an amazing movie, and I read up the behind the scenes stuff on Wikipedia and IMDb. Apparently, the three main actors hated each other and got into fist fights frequently after in between, shooting scenes.
Damn.
So they're supposed to be playing best friends, but they fucking hated each other. And I can't see Richard Pryor beating Harvey Keitel in a fist fight,
no.
Especially because.
So you're saying people that are friends can actually be enemies?
Yeah, something like that.
And actually really insult each other?
I know.
Insult people's faces?
Acting, yes, acting.
Is this what we do?
I know. It's mysteries. It's layers upon layers, Tom.
It always is.
It's a rich tapestry. So anyway, it's a great movie. Very serious drama. Very well acted. I would recommend it. It's a good
Fair
movie.
enough.
All right, Tom. You had another one.
Yes. The next one is a TV series that I watched called The IT Crowd. It's a British show, kind of The Office and Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
It's about It's a comedy sitcom about people in the IT department of a company.
Yeah.
It's got as of season 2, it has 2 actors from Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, which is awesome.
Of course, Dark Place is a masterpiece.
Yes, it is. But
crowning achievement of Western civilization.
But it is exceptionally funny and very good. There was no episode I did not like. Yeah. So it's on Netflix if you want to rent it, or if you can watch it any other way. I highly recommend it.
That reminded me of another shout out I had that I didn't mention to you earlier. It's also about IT nerds, but it's sort of slightly different. It's a novel called The Fuller Memorandum by Charles Stross. Charles Stross is, of course, a very geeky author who he's the one who created the Githyan Key, Githzerai in D&D.
Nice.
He has a series called the Laundry Novels, which are about the idea is. The basic conceit is that mythos magic, Cthulhu mythos magic, is really a field of mathematics. So if you write the right equation, you can summon an alien horror from beyond time and space. So computers really help you do this. Of course, they make it really dangerous too. There's 3 novels: The Atrocity Archives, Jennifer Morgan, The Fuller Memorandum. Fuller Memorandum just came out this month. I just finished it. Very good. I've read all 3 of the novels. I'm a big fan. Cubicle 7 is putting out an RPG based on the Laundry series, which I will hopefully be getting at Gen Con because I am a shameless fanboy of it.
Oh, of course.
And so if you like the idea of a slightly quirky computer guy who uses computers and to summon and banish alien horrors and fight evil cultists.
Nerds will save the world.
Yeah, basically.
Or destroy it.
It's really neat, and it's a quick read. It's only 300 pages. I just devoured it in a couple days. So, Full Memorandum.
Fantastic.
So, what's your next one?
All right, the next one I got is actually an RPG book.
Yeah.
I recently purchased, The Dresden Files.
Okay.
I've never seen the show.
Yeah.
Or read any of the books.
Yeah.
However, a friend of ours, Bill, turned me on to this.
Yeah.
So I picked it up, and I gotta say, it looks really cool.
Cool.
And it's, I guess those of you who read the Dresden Files or have seen it would know more about it than I would, so I'm not going to go into detail.
No.
But I love it. You can pretty much play any damn thing you want.
Yeah, it's a modern. The Dresden Files. Dresden is a kind of a Hellblazer type figure, John Constantine type figure, magician who solves crimes, magician detective. So
it solves crimes of magic and monsters. And
right. So yeah, no, that's cool. I'm glad you like the RPG. I'd like to try it sometime. So
yeah, I'm still reading.
Uses the fate system, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to try that. It's different. Let's see what next. Another game called Killing Floor. It's a video game.
Yes.
I've been playing quite a bit of it. As you know, I'm a big fan of Left 4 Dead 2, but Killing Floor. I know. Shooting zombies. Well, how do they work? Killing Floor is a game where you play a commando trying to take down monsters. Unlike Left 4 Dead, you're not trying to get from point A to point B on the map. In Killing Floor, you have so many waves of monsters, and there are 8 different types of monsters. They start out weak and they get strong. And in between rounds, you have a minute to buy items from a trader, and you get money from killing monsters.
What are you buying?
Yeah, something like that. So and it uses iron sights instead of an aim reticle. So it's a little like Call of Duty. You also level up, like you get perks, which are basically classes. Like there's a medic, there's a sharpshooter, there's a firebug. Firebug gets massive bonuses for flamethrowers, obviously.
Ross likes flamethrowers.
Flamethrowers are fun. I have to say they're pretty fun to use. There's a berserker who gets crazy bonuses for melee, but you can level those up by doing certain things. So I have fun with it. It is fun.
Fun is good.
It's on Steam. You can play with me someday. Ooh.
When you have fun, that is good.
Yeah, it's for the Mac as well as PC. It's on Steam. It's pretty cheap. I bought it on some sale they had for $5. There's probably more now, but it's fun.
That's awesome.
So if you're on Steam, you want to play with RPPR host Ross Payton, you can get Killing Floor.
Ross, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and take this opportunity in between shoutouts.
Yeah.
To let you know something.
What?
I have purchased Left 4 Dead 2.
Oh my fucking god.
I know.
For the PC?
For the PC.
Oh my god.
I have not installed it yet. I just bought it today.
Oh my god.
But I just want you to know.
Oh my god.
That I have it now.
You're on Steam.
I am on Steam.
You're not on my friends list.
Not yet.
Why not?
Because the only games I play on Steam are ones you don't have.
Like what?
Saints Row 2.
Yeah.
And Aliens vs. Predator.
Oh, those are literally the only 2 games you had.
On Steam.
Oh, I see. Not even Team Fortress 2?
Not even Team Fortress 2. But I'll soon be having Left 4 Dead 2.
Okay.
And I can fail miserably and you can laugh at me.
Oh, poor Tom.
Well, if our little speed run was any indicator of my skill on that.
Yeah, well, that was a while ago. And that was on Xbox. Left 4 Dead 2 is better. It's totally awesome, you guys. Anyway, well, actually, you had a shout out.
Yeah, I do?
Yeah.
Another one is a webcomic called Trying Human.
Yeah.
About aliens on Earth.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call it a comedy because it's not, but it's not really serious either.
Okay.
It's, a little lighthearted, but the artwork's great on it.
Yeah.
That's mainly what drew me to it.
Okay.
So you should definitely check it out.
All right.
It's one I've actually donated money to. Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind when you're like, oh my god, everything's so expensive at checkout, blah, blah, blah.
I never said that.
I know. I'm just being an
You're
asshole.
being you.
I'm being me.
But we're friends.
The worst GM ever in history.
But we're friends who are actually getting into fistfights, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, final 2 shout-outs for me. Another video game, Alien Swarm, a new game on Steam. You shoot swarms of aliens.
Pretty straightforward,
yeah.
actually.
Top down, requires teamwork, gets very crazy. You can get that too, Tom. It's free.
I don't trust free.
It's free, Tom.
I don't know if I trust you.
Oh, I see. So get that if you have Steam and a computer because it's free.
Buy that game.
It's not. You don't buy it. You just download it.
Once again, I don't trust that.
Okay.
What's the catch?
There's no. The catch is that you have Steam on your computer, which basically makes it's like video game crack. It's like, hey, we're having a sale today. This game's 80% off. Wanna buy it? Huh? Be like, oh, Steam. I can't stay mad at
Steam.
you.
Like, I will get into your magic van.
Exactly. So Steam is like the best pusher of anything ever, because you're just like, oh, they're having a sale today. Oh, that's only $3.
Well, I do have rent, but it's only $10. Yeah.
I have still 10 games I haven't even fucking played because they were so cheap. I had to buy them. I'll play them someday.
Wow, Ross.
Shut up.
Wow.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
I'm just disappointed.
Anyways, finally, String Theory, another webcomic. It's about a mad scientist on his path to supervillainy. It's well drawn. They're in the first 2 chapters. He hasn't become a supervillain yet, but he's getting there, and he's already done some horrible things. And
that's what you got to do.
Well, kind of by mistake. Well, kind of bad reason. Anyways, it's quite interesting, and
is it also entertaining?
It is entertaining. It's
that is fantastic.
Good art, good writing. What more do you want?
Good tunes, good bros.
I know there's Dr. McNinja and Axe Cop are doing a team up starting soon, so that's
going to blow your mind, isn't it?
It's going to fucking be pretty great. They are on a team.
A team up.
Yeah, a team up. Dr. McNinja and Axe Cop. Anyways, that's not really a shout out. That's just
there it is.
Oh, and Inception's a good movie. So
yeah, I liked it. Anyway.
Let's go on.
Moving on.
It's gameable too. That's the real you know you're a gamer or a game designer type when you everything you look at in life is like, can I turn this into a game? Can this be a game?
I do that, but I'm not published.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know what that.
It means well you need to get published then, Tom.
I do.
But that's your problem, not mine. So.
I never said it was.
Yeah.
Don't judge me.
It's too late for that. Anyways, anecdote time. So
and really, shall we start with Aaron?
Of course. If you've listened to if you contributed to the Kickstarter, I've sent you the instructions on how to download Aaron's run of The Haunting.
If you have not, then you're going to have to rely on our little spiel here.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil everything because we want you to pony up that $10 or whatever.
Yeah. We will say that I think you are right. I think this is the worst we have ever been.
As players,
Yeah,
it was...
I think Aaron was...
You, me, Jason, a new player, Caleb, and Cody. So there's 5 players. So a big group. And Aaron didn't give us any guidelines whatsoever on character creation.
No, he didn't.
So,
and he showed up more than an hour after we had all showed up.
Yeah. So we made characters, and Cody wanted to play a teenager. So we played a teenager who was like a anarchist or revolutionary or something, like a bomb throwing.
He wears a Che Guevara t-shirt.
Yeah, I guess. I decided, and we all based our characters, and how are we all going to know each other? And so,
we made our characters, and really, when we made them, they weren't jackasses. We had, street tough guy.
Yeah. No, I was always a social worker.
Okay, well, social worker. I was an engineer.
Yeah.
And Jason was. He really designed him as just kind of the talker.
Yeah. And then. Caleb played a youth pastor. Our new player played a youth pastor.
Right.
Which is I love that idea, by the way. That's a great idea for a Call of Cthulhu character.
Oh, the Pancake Jamboree.
Yeah, the Little Crusaders Pancake Jamboree.
But unfortunately, I wish we had recorded the character creation moments because that would reveal that. But once we were done, we had 35, 40 minutes before he showed up. And yeah, you're right. Idle hands are the tools of jackassery.
My character was pretty bad. His name was Christopher McBain, and I played him like someone, like a grizzled cop, loose cannon.
He's off the case.
Yeah. Caleb was pretty straightforward, but he was a youth pastor, so okay. Then you two were just awful.
Well, okay.
Jason especially, but
you were both awful. We were brothers who were raised in a Mormon polygamist household. So we had the same father, different mothers. And then this is what we were deciding as time wore on, and we just started thinking of weird shit that we just decided would become canon.
Yeah.
And then we decided, okay, but to rebel against our parents, we both became Scientologists. Yeah. And that Cody was Jason's son.
Yeah.
And when Aaron heard our characters, he made the mistake of going along with it.
Yeah, no shit. Like, he didn't have a good way of hooking us into the scenario. If you're familiar with The Haunting, it's like they provide a couple different ways of like, hey, go investigate this haunted house. And Aaron it took us 45 minutes to get to the haunted house, and literally it was like the weirdest fucking setup ever, and we just charged into it. It's like, oh,
we kicked the door open.
Like, I picked the lock. No, I kicked the door down. Like, literally, we couldn't get inside the haunted house quick enough. I mean, we're metagaming
and then
terribly.
The first weird thing happened.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right, we're going head first. Like, follow that weird thing.
We couldn't jump on our swords quick enough, and Aaron couldn't oblige us and kill us off.
No, and we couldn't. We don't. Better not go into too much detail.
Yeah, no, it was literally. I just love the. I mean, I started laughing so hard. I just kind of lost it. I can't remember what happened at some point, but it was so bad. We were just so awful about this stuff. And
you, of course, when you recognized a moment from this scenario.
I knew.
And you were giddy.
I was giddy because, spoiler alert, there's a magic knife in the basement. The magic knife can be animated by the evil thing that possesses the house and stab people. Aaron, they're going to the basement, and then he said, oh, the ritual dagger, and then it stabbed Jason once. And in the book, it could stab over and over and over again. But does Aaron have it stab Jason over and over and over again?
Or the mattress.
Yeah, or the mattress. Yeah, there's a bed frame, a mattress, on the second floor, and it can be possessed and moved to knock someone out the window. And I literally did that because I wanted to be knocked out the window because I wanted to get killed so Aaron could get his first blood.
And I think, and this is the problem Aaron has.
Yeah.
He does not want to put players in actual mortal danger.
Yeah.
Some danger fine, but actual possible killable danger.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I was trying to be a Polish mine detector. I was literally trying to get myself killed, like, without being, stupidly suicidal. That's why I was like, I picked the lock, I kicked the door down. We must get in there now. Like, oh, could you have us look into this haunted house? We'll go right now. It's night. Come on, you can wait till the morning. No, we're going now.
And Adam Scott Glancy was very disappointed in us.
He listened to it, and I don't want to quote it. It was douche nozzle was used to describe a player. So Aaron was not terribly. He was pretty bad at the setup, and because he couldn't set it up right, and he couldn't get us into it quickly, and he didn't provide any guidelines of character creation. We just totally wrecked that shit, and it was hilarious, but it is like a train wreck in motion. So
it is a thing of beauty. Actually, in the way that a train wreck is beautiful.
I guess it's just wow. Yeah,
trust me.
Listen to it.
Trust me. It's $10 is a bargain to hear this. Yeah. It really is.
Oh my God, we were so bad. Oh man, I feel bad. I feel shame.
We weren't very good teachers then, were we?
No. It's sink or swim, Aaron, and he sank
like a stone.
The next anecdote though
is the game we made character. We had a whole session devoted to character creation.
This is Cyberpunk.
Yes.
The
Telsorian.
Yeah, Telsorian. And this is the Cyberpunk as envisioned in the 80s. The Bruce Sterling neuromancer.
Everything has wires.
Everything has wires and chrome, and there's no such thing as a cell phone or wireless internet. So
there's cell phones.
There
are cell phones.
Oh, they're 80 future past cell phones.
So we basically have your typical assortment of random, half crazy people.
Yeah. It's a very detailed character creation thing. The thing is, they have a life path system where you can roll for events up to 12 of them.
Some good, some bad.
Yeah, I maxed that shit out. I decided to roll 12 of them and have something happen every year.
And you had like a mental breakdown.
No, I had a drug addiction.
Oh, a drug addiction.
So I lost a point of reflexes. I got a gang on my side. I got a teacher. And I made 4 enemies who are all really fucking hate me and are really, really fucking powerful.
Yeah, one actually could call upon the resources of a government agency.
Yeah, so...
But I truly think Aaron rolled up the best thing.
Yeah, I was just a street homeless kid.
Yeah.
Like
Aaron, he rolled his family background. He rolled up corporate executive.
Yeah.
So he like powerful parents who sold him for money.
And to pirates.
To pirates.
To aqua pirates, aquatic pirates. And
he is going to call them his sky parents.
Yes, his sky parents who live up above him in the skyscraper.
And he still loves them, and he feels that he failed them. That's why they sold him.
Yes. And we all got enemies and love affairs and all this other stuff, but yeah. And
of course Caleb's character.
Yes, Caleb is what, like, I was just kind of lukewarm about it, but then Caleb came up, like, he chose the rocker boy, the rocker girl class, which is the musician class with, special powers or whatever.
Well, they're like charismatic leadership's their specialty.
Yeah. So he chose as his template for his character Lady Gaga. So after that, I was like, I'm done. Sold. I can't wait.
This game's going.
This is a thing. We're doing this. Yeah. So we're playing in the past without wireless internet, but cybernetic arms and eyeballs and shit, and Lady Gaga with her tech hair and her cyber snake attack snake. Yeah. It's gonna be a train wreck, probably.
I'm gonna do my best.
Yeah. There's hit locations and shit, so we can probably get killed in one hit.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna pull any punches.
Yeah.
Hopefully, so little that might rub off on Aaron.
Yeah, hopefully.
Aaron's playing a hacker. Just big, just
big surprise.
Huge shock.
I know. I'm sorry, a net runner.
Whoa.
Yeah, so extreme.
Yeah, I have had to tweak the rules so he can actually do the net running while everyone else is doing stuff too.
Yeah. So
there's not a separate game going on over here.
Yeah, exactly. This will be a fun little adventure to Cyberpunk, because you've been wanting to run this forever, it seems like.
Yeah, granted, I admit I probably had a little bit of feeling of what Aaron must have felt.
Yeah.
When I saw the characters forming around the table. There's no way this is going to go the way I planned. So I best, but then
if you had given us regions, you would have control over this. But no, you let us roll.
No, I did.
Yeah, so
I think it's vitally important that that's what you do.
And we already have the adventure plan out. Adventure, deal with enemies. Adventure 1 through 50, deal with enemies. Adventure 51, roll.
If the first session goes on well, I'll do another one.
Yeah.
And if that one goes well, I'll do another one, and so on.
Yeah.
So really, if it's fun and entertaining, I will continue it.
Yeah.
If it does just truly break down into madness, I might actually run another one if it does that too. As long as everyone's cackling at the end.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we'll keep
those I'm sure we'll put up in 20 years.
Yeah.
As Ross needs to post more stuff.
Yes, I post a game a week every week, and that's just.
But it's not enough.
Yeah,
it never is.
No.
They're addicted to our product.
I guess they are. I guess not. So, anyways, I guess that kind of wraps up this episode for you. We'll see some of you at Gen Con this year.
Indeed.
I mailed out buttons.
You decide when we're doing the meetup?
No, not yet. I guess Thursday night is probably good. I need to find out from Scott when he's running his games.
Well, that's usually Friday night or Saturday
night. So if you haven't listened to the interview, you can get an idea of go listen to the 2-hour interview I did with Scott Glancy and find out what kind of games he's running. So.
Hey, it's Scott Glancy's game. It's always awesome.
Yeah. So but we'll see you at Gen Con, and then we'll talk to you later and stuff. So
catch you on the flip side.